comme什么可以他的这些三界国邦，拖下来这个南年龄这些那三界国邦透过的，这年龄切巴了，当不台湾前边个三界国邦拖下来，台湾前边去年龄结果那些，台湾前边去那的工作做讲究审计审批团呢，你这个年龄结果的，讲究审。就来买几百呢，真是审计买审批呢，给我这个三界国邦对比个台湾前边个去查个嘛的，这样呢。讲究审计审批关的苦的是，第二在当时讲究审批的，那这个我如去看的这些呢，其他个去讲一些讲，这是学生南岛讲，第个长辈团呢，审批他们就有多三界国邦托巴修审批三路，但专门买一笔给白呢，人讲究审批，第门把审批的接，那第二个是为啥了？呢，讲究审批东巴修。就东北区一些，等这半年属于这半年那个叫我是这边这样的，俺今年两个月讲究什么的了？那就把什么也写的，我就讲究什么的了，我把什么就把什么底线呢？他同他那个是的讲究什么的个，但攀岩干的需要是呢，攀岩的需要那些攀岩一些比留的那了，俺就这的那就需要了吧。
Good evening. For one who has come to recognize the sufferings of samsara and given rise to a wish to be completely freed of all forms of suffering in samsara, who has given rise to a determination to actually become a Buddha. Such a person has to practice the Mahayana Dharma. And the entranceway into the practices of the Mahayana is the generation of the mind of enlightenment, the generation of bodhicitta itself. If bodhicitta has not been generated, then whatever practices one engages in, because those practices are not conjoined with bodhicitta, they are not practices of the Mahayana Dharma. So it sounds like from what I've just said that bodhicitta is really foundational in the Mahayana, and this is the case. So then what is meant by bodhicitta? Well, to first give rise to the mind of enlightenment, bodhicitta, one meditates extensively on love and compassion, generating the sincere aspiration, may each and every sentient being without exception abide in happiness, freed of suffering. Developing this ever further to the point where one is no longer content with this mere aspiration, but now generates a yearning. I will bring it about. I will ensure that beings are guided so that they develop themselves and attain a state freed of suffering, a state of lasting happiness. And this is the altruistic attitude of universal responsibility. At this point then, the yogin recognizes that they are not yet skilled enough to guide each being perfectly in accordance with their own personality to the state of enlightenment. They need to perfect themselves. They need to become a perfect being, a Buddha, in order to guide beings to the state of enlightenment. This is the generation of bodhicitta. And this then is meditated on until it arises in an uncontrived manner, spontaneously, without effort. When bodhicitta has arisen in a way that is uncontrived, then it is suitable to, the practitioner is suitable to be called a bodhisattva. And the bodhicitta, this uncontrived bodhicitta, is aspiring bodhicitta. Then when the bodhisattva takes the bodhisattva vows and engages directly or manifestly, explicitly in the activities of a bodhisattva, then their bodhicitta is suitable to be called engaging bodhicitta. So that then in brief is what is meant by bodhicitta, mind of enlightenment. And in this chapter, the first chapter of the text, engaging in the bodhisattva's way of life, we are looking at the benefits of bodhicitta in order to give rise to a yearning and then a determination to generate bodhicitta ourselves.
지나 심리에 수두수이나 랑기 된다데 시키치모 슈지자 랑기 된다려야 안제게 약보 가르쳐나 판도 가르치기나 지주야게 탑실던 거로와 생각하는 줄 이내당 저기 도시의 삼다도 근데 지게 면모비게 집어 봐셔다 제바 빵비게다 교연 탐지 세와다 연대 탐지 토비 산제 고봉 토두게 삼로디 나 저기 지당 아주 지딘바 랑게 된다라야 근데 되게 Kenya Kumko Mares, Timagon Bamase, and Milam Naya, and Deniki, Chigarang, Simja, Kasore, Jiva, Guse, and then Guindi, Sanjoko, Tower shows up somebody, Kenyo Mares, Gigo Mares, Dangan to get Janjusim Yamle matching in the Sigur Tachidan. Or Dimase, and the Deniki Majuanza, Deniki, Rangi Dundu Mase, and the Chick Dini Majum was a Semjan Tamjiki Dunda, Sanjoko Tower shows up somebody the Kahoyung with the young Marwas, Rangi Dundala, Chingachidang, and the Chitimiti, Randon, the Gachimbo, she would see in a rounding Rangi Dundala, Semjan Kasora. Kusi in the Gwindy, Sanjoko Tower shows up somebody, Milam, they had some of Tomena, and then most of the Kiamare. The Medjavana, Shane, Simjan Tamjiki to Nasanjoko Tower shows up somebody, Kawaki, the Kiamaro, Kitu Maras, the Niki, the Nezada, Simjan Tamjiki to Nasanjoko Tower shows up somebody, Masachimbo, and Kichimbo, Shuchi in body, yes, and the kissing of the kissing to Amadelati or to Shurua.
Last week, when we were looking at the 24th and 25th verses in the first chapter, we recognize that what still dominates our every intent is the fulfillment of our own wishes, our own desires. A self-centered attitude is what drives us. And whilst this is the case, we haven't even yet given rise to a deep determination to abandon the self-centered attitude. We haven't given rise to an actual determination to completely attain freedom from the afflictions and their seeds, let alone the afflictions, the seeds, and their imprints. In other words, we haven't yet given rise to determination to gain freedom from samsara, let alone enlightenment for ourselves. So if we haven't given rise to such a thought for ourselves, with intent, nor even indirectly, say in our dreams, then how could it be thought that we would have given rise to such a determination for the sake of others? So the place we still find ourselves to be, or the position we find ourselves still to be, is where we are dominated by a self-centered attitude, an obsession about achieving fulfilling our own wishes, achieving our own benefits. So how could it be even thought that we could have given rise to a genuine aspiration to lead all beings to a state of enlightenment? Throughout this chapter, we've been looking primarily at the general benefits of bodhicitta, and we've looked at the benefits of aspiring bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta, and tonight we'll continue to look at benefits of engaging bodhicitta.
That's it. Draw kunji kavyo simjen dungal zirgurupa rinji simki sunam gang dela chida shaye langs.
The 26th verse. The cause of my greatest every joy, the panacea for sentient beings suffering, the merits of this precious mind, how can they be measured?
That draw kunji kavyo you see the answer to was simjen tamje and the Korea Kasode, Nansung Dungal Yawada Ida Dundrele Tarche, and ya and Monduko from Hada Muko from top 10 Delia, and Nansuki, Jelhamiko from Tiki Yoyada, and Deniki. Detail guide taking your agate, guide Yoya to be a chiche, this or draw Gunya Kavi, you said the chiche. Then, and young Denigi Toyag Kavi, Denigi, Tiki Yoya, Gudi, Tiki Yoya, Karelet in the Yungosene, Janju Sem Yamsulemba, Janju Sem Guchevalet in the Yungo Regere. Judge Sem Guche Balatene and Densky of Yungo Regere. Nasum dual at Harchel, Hada Mi, Gobon, Topchel, Hada Mi, Tilla, Digi, go digging your shore, Dia, Jucarility or Judge Sem Gulet in the Yungo Regere.
looking first at the first line, the cause of my greatest every joy. So those who have looked at the sufferings of the lower realms to the extent where they've given rise to determination to prevent any possibility of falling into the lower realms in the next rebirth, and thereby are determined to gain a good rebirth in the higher realms as a human or as a god. Those who have given rise to such a determination will strive to accumulate the causes that lead to such a rebirth in the higher realms. Those causes that are required for such a rebirth are included within the causes for the cultivation of bodhicitta.
Tadine korwe dunga tadale kyun thonjo korwe dunga de tadale targo simbe taduge sambaje dine taduge sambaje ne lamnyoso lembale dine an nyomoba sabona jeba pangbe pangba tarba toyodu tarbigi dewa toya dingi dewa toyage tarbi dingi dewa toya denigi digi gawa deang ane chige janshu semki gyushe bale dine yungore.
Those who've reflected far more deeply and have come to recognize the sufferings of samsara in their entirety, looking at not just the sufferings of the lower realms, but also of the higher realms, and have thereby given rise to determination to abandon their afflictions and their seeds and thereby gain liberation. That also comes about in dependence on causes, and the causes that would lead to such a result are to be found also within the motivation for bodhicitta.
Tadine ane chige janshu sem jam jinjo ko janshu sem nyamnen jebale dene korwe dunga kaso nyomo sabon bacha dan jeba bangne gyun kunse yendan kunde denbege tarchimbegi ane sanji ko fantea ane janshu sem dele gyuche janshu sem degi gyuche bale dene yongores.
And of course, those who have determined to become Buddhas for the sake of others, determined to generate bodhicitta and thereby strive to abandon afflictions together with their seeds and imprints and thereby attain Buddhahood, this of course is the direct motivation of bodhicitta.
띵기 대왕 엘레텔라 타르바당 탐지 캠묘 고방 자자 장주 셈 냠는 집에 장주 셈기 냠는 집에 장주 셈기 규체 발에 되네 근데 뭐도 고방 톱투고래 투고래 아니 데레 되네 아니 탈비 고방 토야다 데레 되네 아니 산지 고방 토야 차상다 뭐도 당 엘레기 고방 네 디기 다 띵기 대와 토야기 띵기 규디에 아니 장주심 규제 발에 되는 용거래 장주심 규제네 대서 두고래 세 도나라 장주심 규제 발에 되네 당원요 고발에 탈비 고발에 한 탐지 캠보 고반 티기셔서 장주심 규제 발에 되는 두고래 세 숨고로 와다.
Summarize that then. When one is cultivating the causes to lead to the generation of bodhicitta, in this process of cultivating these causes as a side effect, one also achieves the goals of those who are striving for good rebirth, in that when one's striving to cultivate bodhicitta, one accumulates causes that do lead to a good rebirth. And likewise, while striving to cultivate the causes to generate bodhicitta, one also develops the causes that will lead to the abandonment of the afflictions together with their seeds, which is what's required for liberation. And of course, the direct motivation of someone who's striving to develop bodhicitta is to abandon the afflictions together with their seeds and imprints, which is what's required to attain Buddhahood. So therefore, for those who are striving to generate bodhicitta as a byproduct, they'll also be accumulating the causes that will lead to good rebirths and liberation from the sufferings of samsara.
sonne jimbada seba zunjugi nyamne jebana kewa chima thana mi ko ba thotu gorwa janjusem gomgo ya marwa chisa dine mondio ko ba de janjusem gyuche bala dine 먼저 고방 터부에서 된 다다 작음도와 선배게다 섬로 용으로와 나디나시 타르베 고방 토발아야 다준비주고 토발아 전유심 공부 말와 제사다 고발행위 중에 한 다음에도 배셔라 공되니 지모 수준수버 준비 다 딩이지나 다음에부터 배셔라 공부할 때네 아니 다준비주고 년대다란지 전유심비 다준비주고 토투고와 전전반의 이제 전유심 공부가 요마로와 매반사다 먼저 고방디야 전유심 규제발 때네 용구리 안나 타르바 고와디야 전유심 규제발 용구리 세디 다다 책임도 와스 다 산지 고마서야 돼. 산지 고마도 발라 전심 공부를 와디 다다 차기도 와서 되는 게 다다 차기도 돼. 지게 탈바당 먼저 고방 톱세 터야지 전심 규칙을 띵 기기를 해서 디 규례 차기를 해서 규례해야 돼. 다다 차기면 우선 병원도 삼는 나라 되는 또 용구로 와.
So some may push back when they hear this. They say, sure, I accept that if someone is striving to become a Buddha, to attain Buddhahood, they need bodhicitta. But if someone is striving for their own individual liberation, why do they need to generate bodhicitta? Because individual liberation requires as a primary cause the wisdom realizing emptiness, accompanied by ethical restraint, generosity, patience, joyous perseverance, and concentration. And for someone who's wanting a good rebirth, they certainly don't need to bother with generating bodhicitta. What they need is primarily ethical restraint, accompanied by generosity, patience, and joyous perseverance. So surely, with those three goals, only for the goal of Buddhahood is bodhicitta required.
먼저 탈바토발라 전주심나 이제 공부고 말 강사 소소란 게 냠내지 탈바토발라 잠바단 전주심 거야 말에 개와지 말하다 미고방 토발라 소소기 냠내진 토발라 안 전주심 고고 말딩원에 덴바르와 이나 돼서 되니게 탈비고방 토야다 개와지 말하다 미고방 토바디 전주심 규칙이 지금 말이 배스는 규칙이 오래지다 강사 소소기 탈바토에 냠내지 발라 전주심 고 먹어나야 되니게 토야디 전주심나 때문에 연구를 했어.
When someone expresses a view such as that, there is validity to what they're saying, in that to attain a good rebirth or liberation, bodhicitta is not required. So that is true. Nevertheless, though, if someone is striving to generate bodhicitta, in that process of cultivating the causes that will lead to the eventual generation of bodhicitta, they will also be cultivating the causes that will lead to a good rebirth, as well as the required causes for liberation from the afflictions.
나는 간에 타바토에 대한 전시심이 규제발은 간에 연구를 해라도 제사다 타바토에 람땡에 수팅 거라서는 상기기 총순거로와 상기데 마팅고 띵거로와 상기기 상기 줌내디고 순거로와 타바토에 람 냠내 림바 순간에 수순거로서 상기 순거로와 제사 상기에 순야디 순바자 데니게 람땡현디기 순바자 람땡현디 상기디기 심제 탐지게 된다라 상기고바 토바징에 전시심긴 전시심 냠내제 상기고바도 제니제 원게 전시심 제누마 심제 탐지 누마세 된다라 상기바자 상기바이자 근데 제 원기 콜리아 안 탑람 타르바토에게 탑람 땜바이자 지사 상기 점는 디기 최딩의 상기 최된법 순간 상기 점는 디게 자주 셈디기 규제발에 때네 아니 그래서 진바당고로 최기 진바 마 진바 지메냐 최기 진바 땅에도 최기 진바 콘솔 람냠링 마 나여도 지사 자주 셈기 군데 랑제 콘솔이야 지금 규제발 된 최진바 최냠내는 바때 디코로 때는 코로지기 디냠소 렘발에 때네 타베고와 토두고와 제산 콘주기 최냠내제 당보신에 유리가와 차결었으면 최순간델라라리고로 최순간데 가서 자주심 디기군요 규제발 때네 콘주 최된 발에서 콘송 발에 제산 디땡어도 콘주기 디냠는 제발에는 타베고와 토발에 제산 최된게 메나 타베고와 토에 람 템바보 땡겐지 메나 냠랭이를 발링 말아와 님만만은 나 탈바토야 말아 제사 tarbi kubang thoya di nyamlingi rimba nyamsu lemba le dine tarbi kubang thokore. Nyam nasu li rimba di sui sunba re jan sanyi sunba re. Je sanyi sunba di zeyi wangi de tuji ge janju sem ni gunne la ji sunba inza. Je za di sanyi ge tarba thoya ge lam nyamli rimba di ya janju sem la dine yungure di nyamsu lemba jine jik tarba thoba di ya tarbi tubi 띵이 되어 토바이한 janju 용구를 해야지. 제가 janju 탈비게 규리 해야다. 즉 가요 규세야도 금전데 디스 거래.
Let's explore then a little further how the cultivation of the causes that lead to bodhicitta actually also lead to gaining liberation from the sufferings of samsara. So first of all, how do we know this at least intellectually, is because it was taught by Buddha Shakyamuni. Buddha Shakyamuni taught that the specific trainings that are required to train one's mind in order to attain liberation from suffering. So the paths that we need to cultivate in order to attain the state of a foe destroyer of an arhat was taught by a Buddha, Buddha Shakyamuni. So because in order to attain any exalted goals such as liberation, one needs a spiritual teacher, a spiritual guide, someone to guide you how to cultivate the mental paths in order to attain liberation from samsara. And the ideal guide is a Buddha who has perfectly traveled those paths and developed them even beyond the state of an arhat and has attained the state of Buddhahood. So therefore, we know from the perfect being, Buddha Shakyamuni himself, that the causes that one needs to accumulate lead to, we know from Buddha Shakyamuni what are the causes that need to be accumulated in order to lead to liberation. And how do we know this? Because he practiced the generosity of giving the Dharma. And through that, practitioners, by relying on their teacher, Buddha Shakyamuni, who was practicing the generosity of Dharma, learned what the causes are that need to be accumulated in order to attain liberation from samsara.
dine nyamlen che kogoro es sunga di sangye sungpa rewa. Jesa dine sungpa za sangye sungpa diya an tu zewi wangi jike janju semji gunne langche nga zuya du sung. Dine ke sungpa nga zuya dine ke sungpa di lame ki nga zuya jik lap nga zuya di nyamlen che pala dine an jike lada mi kopa toya di ungoro. Jesa dine za lada mi kopa toya na tarbi kopa toya tamji kembe kopa toya Desu chasang ji gyuru shimadu pa ji tautu gyuri su sun sangye ge sungpa de la dine. Jizang sangye sungpa de yang kare sene zeyu wangi tu zewa na janshi sem gunye na xian lai penpe sem ge manzu liya jiga sungwa yan za an jiga janshi sem ge zeyu gyuri de jizang zhuwa gunyi gawi gyu se de zhuwa gunyi wende ko gopang topche de la ya digi tang tarbi gopang tuan digi nywa ya and tamje kimbe ko wa de kian chasan le sanji janju semla de yongore gyuche pale de jeware se jin desu yu janju semdi desu yu gyuche gore se de sonye do da do se da.
So too, with the cultivation of the causes to attain a good rebirth, we only know what these are because of Buddha Shakyamuni having taught us. So due to his powerful love and compassion, Buddha Shakyamuni taught his students what are the specific causes to cultivate and how to do so as to attain a good rebirth, namely ethical restraint primarily, accompanied by generosity, patience, and joyous perseverance. So Buddha Shakyamuni presented this initially in our world, and through successive students cultivating these and other causes in their mind, attaining various paths, they have continued to pass on his lineage, pass on these teachings, guiding students of the Buddha Dharma in how to cultivate these very causes in their own minds. So therefore, that this knowledge exists in our world is due to the love and compassion of Buddha Shakyamuni.
those children as a gulpa, do ya, pad, chick, David, and Gudil, but you know, huge mango, huge or what down there. Just like the Neza those children, Chasaya getting him, getting him, getting by Charova, Guru Charova, and Gudilia, also gay, you didn't, you said, Chimango, the Neza, Penning around the Roching, dealing out the Chish, answering Yashig, Junju Loge, Chick those children, chick. To go, give out to go. Then to give us I go. The Dikeva Sayadi, that go most of some Davidan Zuki, Jason Yangana, Shahan, Delet in the Yontugan. Delva does, Jan does some dana, the Niki, Nazuki, Suesati, Casco, the Tosada, Chasa, Kangba, and Jeji chicken, Chasan, the good desolate dinner, the change Arawa. The nigger, they are chosen Sokozuedi. So to the delet in Gorova, just like this Sobozuegi, Lehan millet in the Ligore. The nigger Sobozuedia, and several Michet Alamishiki, Konzugu, Gana, Sugas, Gana, desolate and Konosuget and Limoges, and Honosul getting Champoria. Konosugu do so and do some daddy, and they had to call the lama, and delet in Manzugi, Buenma, do Sikamadu, pay on the color. Gangadi Pasien, Zeus, Chada Chendi, Yaurum Chelia, Zeus and Cedar, Yaurum Chili, two theory. The Yaurum Chili, the Yang, a Tadan to Kawasa idea, say Yaurum Chili getting Guchadir. The Aya to do some done and do in the Ayaj. Taruna, Dumbasani Jim Dendel, water. Zanding on to give it, that on to Ching and Jagi, Kawasa, Taruna, you saw the San Jim Dende. They are not Tartu when San Jim Dende, Niema. Janshu Semaji Nilo Gombe, Niji Gombeagi, Semjan Tam Jigi Dungase, Diguduangi, Jigin Sibi Nijo Gombe, Deletin Ledigasa Chawar. She's not those chins, say you tar to Bachana Anzugi, that thing Anzugi, Chenye, Chishi, Chinyashi Chebe, Kewatia, and then those chine ya Zijo Venet, then Tardun Demasanya Jim Digi Tuche, Geshe Baletine, Chagorwa, the names that those in the Samtana. The Nigi Janju Semde, draw when you carry Guri said, some Dana Dushin, Tamkorwa.
If we're going to really approach this line, this first line in the most appropriate way, the cause of my grace is every joy, really need to think carefully about interdependence, to be aware of all of the tremendous causes that are required to bring about my grace's every joy. So here we can approach this through thinking of our interaction with this incredible lineage of love and compassion, in that we've all gathered together tonight, as we have for a number of weeks now, to hear teachings on engaging in the Bodhisattva's way of life. And hearing these teachings and thinking about its meaning, in this hour and a half together, we gather quite some virtue. But the very fact that we could do so is dependent on so many causes. So there are those who are maintaining this environment now, the Atisha Center right now, who are ensuring that Atisha Center is still functioning and thriving, and that with really relative ease, we can just turn up here and hear these teachings, think about them, and thereby create the causes for our own enlightenment. But that there are those individuals here right now, this community right now, enabling the Atisha Center to thrive and function, is dependent on those who came before them, so that they could, the current people who are part of the causes that enable the center to function, as well as the students who bring about the need for the center to be here, that we are all able to be here and contributing is independent on those before us who were ensuring that the center was alive and thriving, who in turn were dependent on those before them. And so this way we can, just through the last number of decades, trace back, looking at particularly Lama Zopa and Lama Yeshe, that independence on their kindness and love, as well as their, could say, their physical expression of the love and kindness, in that the various students and staff who over the generations have ensured that Atisha Center has continued to thrive. We now can sit here in ease and comfort, hearing these teachings, accumulate virtue. But you can go back much further than Lama Zopa and Lama Yeshe and think about their incredible masters, their great teachers who were educated in the old Tibet and had to, under tremendous hardship, flee the persecution of the communist Chinese in Tibet into India, and that they could do so came about primarily in dependence on the kindness and the love of His Holiness. So we can see this lineage of interactions that were required from holy beings to ordinary beings like ourselves to ensure that we can receive these teachings with really relative ease. And we can go way back beyond His Holiness to the lineage of great Tibetan masters, as well as the Tibetan people who sustained the Dharma in their land. And before that, to ancient India, back to Buddha Shakyamuni. But even prior to Buddha Shakyamuni, we could think back to the Bodhisattva, guided by compassion, who eventually would become Buddha Shakyamuni, the light in our world. So in this way, when we think about the causes of migrators' every joy, one way to approach this, well, a useful way to approach it is through interdependence. And one way is to look at this incredible lineage of love and compassion from which we benefit, from which we too create or experience joy.
Ngondo na tarba na tamje kimbe ko wa thoe de janju sem nyamle chike janju sem nyamlen chin janju sem ki de ne an de su ge an ji jeba xian ya penbi jawa jinbi nyamlen chugi jimba nyamle ma rimba chugi jimba chegro chugi jinbi nyamlen ji du jeba le de ne an de ma ju ge ngondo ko wa nyamlen jeba le ngondo ko wa na tarba tamje kimbe ko wa thoe de ne yung yu ban za jeda Semja Tamsan Yokoban Topper Show, Sibe Chanju Semge Mase, then Chanju Simbe Tomba Shune, then Chinsok Parsin Juli Pawos, Yamso, Laland and Jubal, also Laland Dane, Dai Jubi, Jimbi Paret Yamlan Chedu, Chinchuki Jimbe Yamlan, Deje Palatine, and Lanzukitus Yamlan, Dene, no one to Koban Toya, the Tarbata Tamji Kimbe, Koban Toya Yungu Banza, Jizan Juba Semge Digi. Desugi Chasan Kushigores, said it and that is a draw when you gave you said.
If we think about the interdependence of this incredible lineage that we benefit from and are connected to, we can see that the tremendous development of love and compassion that leads to the cultivation of this marvelous mind of bodhicitta, this wondrous mind of bodhicitta, which then is expressed primarily through the generosity of giving the Dharma that we now are recipients of. Because it's through great beings, namely Bodhisattvas and Buddhas, expressing their love and compassion through the expression of the practice of generosity of giving the Dharma, that the lineage of the teachings is alive and flourishes in our world and has been for so many generations. So we can see how, by connecting to this lineage, that we can cultivate the causes through following the example of our teachers and their teachings, and thereby cultivate the same causes that they are cultivating that will lead to our eventual generation of bodhicitta. And those causes will also be causes that lead to a good rebirth for ourselves, eventual liberation and from the sufferings of samsara, and enlightenment itself. And when one does actually cultivate these causes well enough so that bodhicitta and contrived bodhicitta arises in our continuum, the expression of our love and compassion too will be that of giving the Dharma, enabling all others to also cultivate the causes for their own liberation and own good rebirth, liberation and enlightenment. So in this way, engaging bodhicitta, through engaging bodhicitta, we can recognize how the causes for good rebirth, liberation, and enlightenment are all accumulated.
dunga ta dunga yu dunga chaba tu dunga deso dunga ki ne se da ne da chawa dunga de ga ne da chawa re je san ne de le men de me se ba na chen semje tham ji yu dunga ki ne ani men da chawa chanshu de ne ki juba semje de duzi res je ne de se wa je bi duzi ku ba res duzi res da duzi chadan ga ne chai ne se dan ga ne se ne sanji ki janju simji gune la changa zo ya nyamle rimba te nyamle rimba te nga zo nyamso lemba le te ne nga zo dunga de se ne na chi la da mi ko ma to ya da ta ba ta tamji ki ko ma to ya de yungu yo ba za de ne za de san yi janju sem ga so re kun jo ba nyamle jawi simbi to ne de janju sem de da nga zo dunga ye ne se wa je bi duzi me duzi re se duzi ki simje dunga zikyu ba se zi se du zi re se ko.
In the same way that bodhicitta is the cause for every joy for beings, so too is it the cause that will lead to the eradication of every problem, suffering and difficulty for beings. And this we see expressed then in the second line, the panacea for sentient beings' suffering. Here we can relate to this as our suffering, thinking of our suffering as being like an illness. And the panacea for that, the supreme medicine, is that of bodhicitta. Because as we cultivate the causes that will lead to the generation of bodhicitta, as well as then the expression of bodhicitta, in other words, the practices associated with engaging bodhicitta, one creates the causes that lead to the attainment of liberation and enlightenment. And thereby, all forms of suffering will be abandoned, whether it's the causes of suffering, the suffering of physical and mental pain, or slightly subtler levels of suffering, the suffering of transient happiness, or the subtlest level of suffering, all-pervasive suffering. All of them will be abandoned through the cultivation of the causes that lead to the generation of bodhicitta, as well as the expression of engaging bodhicitta, through the accumulation of the causes that lead to liberation and enlightenment. In this way, all forms of suffering are abandoned. So we see that bodhicitta is the cause for every joy, as well as the eradication of all suffering.
Rinpoche Tawa, the Rinpoche de la Tenia Zugi, Chidang Rinpoche Zelade, de la Tenia Zugi, Nijiki Tunjin Juyata, Ganga Sea de Jutuguenza, Rinpoche said. On Dina Jenda, Jaju Sem, the Nigi Juba, Jubi Semge di, Rinpoche res, Rinpoche, Karasene, Digi, Sem Diu, Gunia, Lade, Shalia, Mazulia, Dunga Sea, and Digi Juya, Talam Ding or do. Della tenenga sunyam silembachene ma suke kanga se den digi phu so bo tu gorwa tise rinpoche ese.
This is also expressed in the third line, the merits of this precious mind. So bodhicitta is seen as a mind of great value, a jewel-like mind. So again, like as mentioned last week, the word here, this word for precious, can also be a word for a jewel. So a jewel-like mind or a precious mind. Because having what is deemed as precious, this can be utilized to eliminate problems. So just like we can do this in the ordinary mundane world, through the cultivation of a jewel-like mind, a mind of such indescribable value, one is able to overcome every form of problem, suffering, and difficulty.
Draw Kunji and the Gavi Casole, Mondo down, Nele Tubeki, Guyare, Saja Gavi said. Semjan Tamji Dunga Seki and the Tuzi, but Tuziares. The ne and the Semjan Tamji Dunga said and Digi Tubi and the Rimpoche such, or those channel Songdua.
We see in these three lines then that bodhicitta is the cause for every joy. Through cultivating the causes that lead to bodhicitta, as well as then the expression of engaging bodhicitta, one creates the causes to ensure good rebirths, as well as liberation and enlightenment for oneself and for those that one is guiding. Moreover, It leads to the complete eradication of every problem, suffering, and difficulty for beings, both on the coarse level to the subtlest level. A complete eradication through the cultivation of the causes that lead to bodhicitta, as well as the expression of engaging bodhicitta. One attains freedom from suffering for oneself and those that one is able to guide. So therefore, the merit of this mind, this mind is the merit that this precious mind, this precious mind accumulates vast stores of merits.
Deni rinpoche da janju sem di rinchen sem ji sunam gas deni ge janju sem di rinpoche sem janju sem rinpoche di ge sunam di kan des yore sene sunam di nuba chishon ma sona gya chishon na ga ze yore gya chishon da nuba chishon ga ze yore lamna jipa kan des yore lamna dela jida shege lamas jida deni ge sunam be ma se gya chenbo da Nuba chenpo top chenpo huge res. Jesa denige sunam delaya, manzo tse gyabne tse tsaya khoraya ma dide dela jida shaya langs, manzo shaya sene tse gyaba se. Jesa tse gyab langs de tse gyab tuya ma res, tse gyab tsaya da tuya skaya ma res. Jesa denige tse gyab ma tubege da jiga sunam chenpo huge res warwa.
When you hear about these qualities as presented in the first 3 lines, the thought may well arise, this jewel-like mind must create so much merit. How can that merit be measured? And this is the 4th line. How can they be measured? So this vast stores of merit that bodhicitta generates, how powerful is it? How can it be measured?
Janju sem ge digi penyen de la pa ziwen da ga ze de ga ze je ben de san de san yu jum sem ge ne shan ya ji ge so su gi nyam len chen de ne shan ya chue ten bi di chue de nyam ze len ba le de ne san ge top sa ga san ge mang pa do me ba chu yo re de ne janju sem pa do me ba yo re de ne nyan thue da ra ya da de ne pa do me lam nyam le ji pa do me ba de ne ge lam no ma shu ba ne de ne ge da chi chue nyam len ji gen de ne ge ji ge pa do me ba ye de da de ma zu thong shu su ge ba zam le na la shu chue de ru ba di nga zo ma thong ba la la ka ze la yo re di me ge la da la ma yi da jun dun zhuo na le an ji ge chue ji gen mang bu yong guo re ji de ne za jan sang ye jum nen de yin jan shu sem gi be jan shu sem pa yin de ba de ne ge ji cha me ro di na jin nga zu je jan shu sem de ne ge sem gi be sem ge ji jen ju ba sem gi ye tuen sem ge de su ge ko pa yin ya ji wen de ji cha la ya da zhang ge tu ya ka ya ma le我点的学了是呢，其实推没吧，就是那朋友的白嘛是包都没吧，有就朋友请不学了也是我说的。
There is no way to describe how much merit is cultivated by bodhicitta or how powerful this merit can be. Rather, the way to approach it is just to think on what are the benefits that we've heard before and what must come from this. So where one has cultivated this mind of bodhicitta and then expressing it, so now one has received the vows and engaging in the 6 perfections, so one has cultivated bodhicitta which is suitable to be called engaging bodhicitta. One will be striving to cultivate or progress towards the attainment of one's own enlightenment, but amongst the primary techniques, the foremost is the teaching of the Dharma, the generosity of giving the Dharma, thereby enabling others to cultivate virtue within their mind and to abandon suffering. So what we see through the cultivation of bodhicitta, even in the mind of just one sentient being, is for them themselves there's tremendous benefit over lifetimes as they cultivate the paths in their continuum, progressing towards enlightenment itself. But whilst they are doing so, benefit comes to being after being, directly and indirectly being aided by this bodhisattva guiding others, guiding them so as not to create the causes to fall into the lower realms. Where possible, the bodhisattva will be benefiting beings already bound in the sufferings of the lower realms, helping ease their burden of suffering, connecting with them so that later when they eventually break free from the lower realms, the bodhisattva then can guide them to their own liberation. Moreover, the Bodhisattva will be guiding humans and gods to cultivate the causes to ensure they attain continued good rebirths, and moreover, cultivating the connection to guide them so that they cultivate the causes for liberation and enlightenment itself. So in this way, we recognize that the generation of a single instance of engaging bodhicitta leads to eventually the attainment of so many beings attaining high rebirth, so many beings attaining liberation, so many beings attaining Buddhahood. So in this way, one can come to understand the measureless impact of bodhicitta.
and this we ma to consider that say can say merwa. Dinajang to serve chike song, Denigi Lomal Ma Song Denigi Rimbat Denigi Kawa to share den Yamlan Jigan, Ma Denigi Kasayorasene, Digisore, Denisima Yomar said, Seja do your merwa. Chisa Denis do some Chisa Denigi Sem Janju Sem Yamlange Semgi Kunelabi Cheshe do Shepando to Digi Tebu. Digi to your dinner in June said that say, Jena, jump to a marriage, then he bought me about you. She's not Janju Sem Yamlan Chabana, Janju Semgi, that Denigi, Payan Denigi bought me about you, said Tibutelia, Payan and the Tibusi or Delet in the Junjube Digi, Pachi Gawati, Patzi, Janajamna, Patsi up to your high mother said.
If we again continuing with the fourth line, trying to gain the measure for the benefits of bodhicitta. If we look at the supreme illustration in our world of engaged bodhicitta, we think immediately of His Holiness. How is it possible to measure the beneficial impacts of His Holiness in our world, and not just in this world, beyond this world, beyond this one life? It's inconceivable. It is impossible to imagine the inconceivable benefits that follow from His Holiness's enlightened activities. So too with Lama Zopa. How can one measure the inconceivable benefits that come from his enlightened activities? So when you think about these inconceivable benefits, or another way to express it would be, instead of benefits, would be results. The results that follow from the causes that they accumulate in our worlds. It's impossible to measure. It's beyond comprehension.
That's in Jig Zumbling, they can Zumbling Nuti, Chuntra Chagres, called Chushaya Mares, she's not Dinigi, Jig Donalba, Din Sungdua, Jaju Semki, and the Sunam Gang, Galde, Deda Suchina, Sunam, and Sige, Namge Kamia, and Namge Kamnaja, Nut Shungs, such a Chuntra Chu Mares, the Dinisungdua.
The outline that we are in is the validity of obtaining benefits from engaging bodhicitta. Last time we were looking at the same, but in relation to aspiring bodhicitta. So engaging bodhicitta comes about through first cultivating love and compassion, the altruistic attitude of universal responsibility, and then generating bodhicitta itself. And strengthening it further so it becomes uncontrived bodhicitta, which would then be aspiring bodhicitta. Then the new bodhisattva would receive the bodhisattva vows and engage in the activities of a bodhisattva. Now their bodhicitta is that of engaging bodhicitta. And in this verse, we've been talking about the benefits of engaging bodhicitta. So there's the benefits that come directly to that one individual who has generated it, and thereby the expression of their engaging bodhicitta, the immeasurable benefits that go beyond this one mere being. So again, trying to understand how one could measure these benefits, there's a sutra quotation from a sutra requested by Vedadatta. If the merit of the mind of enlightenment were to take material form, the whole of space would be replete with it, and even then there would be more besides. So this just goes to show that, or it goes to try to illustrate that if somehow the merit of bodhicitta were to take form, it would be greater than this entire world itself. This continues with the next verse. If even the simple thought to be of help is far superior to making offerings to the Buddhas, how much more so is striving for the happiness and well-being of each and every sentient being?
Sanje sala kuyin di chedo nge semje tamju do sanjo ko ba tobor sho sembe ge dang member semje semde semje ba zam sio pember se ba zam yi jang se de ngazo member semje ba member semje de la on de pember semje zam sem ka so pember sam ba zam yi jang se de sam di pember sembe de ka je se ne member semje de la wo re che de de wo so ya di na.
The first line, if even the simple thought to be of help. So this refers to aspiring bodhicitta, the determination to guide each and every being to enlightenment. Or sorry, the determination to attain enlightenment for each and every sentient being.
Dinigi and Pamba Samba Zamye Yang, Sanji Chile Kepana, Sidda, Zugi, Zemli Nashin, Chawa Chaya, ya. Jawa charge Bato Meba, and Delia, Dijimbochita Rita Bato Meba, and Delia Pui Sangetes, Pui Sangela, Sangetio Bato Meba, Desilia, Pui Bigida Rimboche, Zemling Jawa charge Rimboche, Gangaje, Pui Sange, and Sange Jawa charge Bato Mebalia, Pui Big Sunamje, Dili Sunam Dile, Sange Chile, Kepana, so the carriage, Disunam la carriage. 가르치는 체계를 놨나 대내기 부비고 수는 대당 심지어 탐지 상여고 바토버쇼 심면 멤버 셈점 기비 수는 니보디 수수는 체여라서는 자주 셈멤버 심기야 되수는 체와래서 제자 펜버 삼바 점이자 상예 최래 개발나 상예를 주는 처법 부위기 상승의 처법 부위기 최위 수는 딜레 심지어 탐지 상여고 바토버쇼 세베 셈개바 점디 멤버 심기 주반님는 잘라 파말라 바이네야 지금 셈개바 점기 편이 디치리스.
Now, first line, if we imagine someone who has generated aspiring bodhicitta and has thereby accumulated incredible stores of merit, and we compare them with someone else who, now the second line, is making offerings to the Buddhas. So here, in relation to the second line, we imagine someone who's making offerings to inconceivable Buddhas before them, inconceivable number of Buddhas before them, and moreover, they're making limitless numbers of offerings to these inconceivable numbers of Buddhas. So by doing so, certainly is a greatly meritorious act. But if we compare the merit that these two beings have generated, the one who has generated aspiring bodhicitta has created inconceivably more merit than the other person who's making offerings to innumerable Buddhas and innumerable types of offerings to these innumerable Buddhas.
장관주 섬나다베네 상예报道메바 장례 대발야 아니 지게 림보체报道메바 지게 제와 차이 점리 나신 제와 차게 되니게 다다가 부여디 다시는 전부 쉬우 장주 셈 개발에 디스는 체사를 상상을 된사로 한스.
If we imagine someone offering to the sky filled of Buddhas and offering every jewel and thing of value to them, this clearly would be an incredible meritorious action to make. So how can aspiring bodhicitta, it's just that one mind, may create so much more merit?
And this is the Janju Simnusnum Chigreshe, Gumseroji Carresene, 다 되네게 상계 장에报도 매발이야 안지기 림보체 안지기 점리 제와 차게 주신 데레가 다다 푸위기 푸위 수남디 디게 수남디게 수남 报도 매발 살고 어때 이내 장주심기 심매반에 상계고바 토비 규체가 자투고 말와 제가 장주심 마검나 상계고 데니기 규 报도 매발 가서 사베네 상계고바 토투야 말와 제가다 상기 장주심 지게바나 심자타 상계고바 토버쇼 세베 장주심 지게바나 장주심 디기 아니 지군에 라제야 니보 공부치네야 라니 아니 상계고바 토투야 디게 장주심 지군에 라데 샹리아 탑lâm 덴제 샹조 报도 매반 데시셰바나신 아니 디기 주야게 몬도당 녜레야 타바레 능 고투비야게 제투여자 지산 장주심 디기 겐 규제발레 되네 랑당 샹니가레 디기 주야다 랑 디기 탈비가 상교고바 토바 마제 샹심 좀 报도 매바 아니 그 몬도당 타바당 상교고바를 고투여바 장주심비 냠는지 고투여바자 지산 디네자 장주심디 먼바심 기비 장주심디 니버치기레스 지산 파연체 델레데네 제부 판도 체용고레 사지도 들어와다.
So someone who's offering everything that is precious in our world to limitless Buddhas definitely is making vast stores of merit. One wouldn't want to deprecate such an act of generosity, but it remains incomparably less to the generation of aspiring bodhicitta, because with aspiring bodhicitta, that bodhisattva still has as their goal Buddhahood for themselves, but in order to guide all beings to a state completely freed of suffering. So they have the supreme goal of Buddhahood for themselves, but in order to benefit others. To benefit others in both temporary or mundane ways, so fulfilling their worldly needs, as well as ensuring good rebirths, but also, and most importantly, has as their goal to lead each and every sentient being without exception to a state freed of suffering, preferably the state of enlightenment. So this goal is held sincerely by their genuine compassion. It's because of the quality of the compassion in the bodhisattva, the compassion that comes with bodhicitta, as well as that their goal is directed towards enlightenment for the sake of each and every being, enlightenment being the supreme goal, and each and every being the supreme number of suffering beings, and wanting to help them both in ordinary temporary ways, but in particular to help them in the extraordinary way of wanting to guide them to attain their own liberation and enlightenment. Because of all these reasons, the merit that aspiring bodhicitta creates is incomparably more than even such a remarkable act of generosity.
지나 신 동아세다 신 디기주여기 치코 디기주여레 신기 동아세 탈바다 탐제기 고방 토야디 마 아니지마 콘솔라 탑람 띵제 냠리 림바 띵제 콘솔 냠솔 렌주제 야 안지기 디기를 거는 마다 신 탑시가요 말봐 세상 콘솔이야 탑람 띵제 냠솔레게 탑람 띵디 가르스는 군노 전시심기 군에 라지 띵거로 봐 제자디 군에 라 띵거 디 판파 계시면 좋고 거래 소소게 대시 수남 사셔게 대 소소게 림보제 빠고 매바 상예 잔래데 푸시비 수남디 여르데 수남디 고비게 돼요 말봐 소소 수남 빠고 매바 사여데 디 수남디 샹달래 제체네 셴디기 주투에스 가요 말봐 주예요 말봐 제자 셴디기 주야데 동아세야리아 셴야 탑람데 냠리 림바데 디 냠소 렌주제 디기 줍주야지로와 제가 디 탑람 때야래요 때야기다 콘솔레 제와다 지기 소술레 자주셈 펜베지베 셈디 매바이나 가래 하버차고 제가 디수제야데 셴리아 디니기 냠렌데 베림바데 자주셈 셈레 때네 용고바자 아니 디기 네 자주셈디 편연체와래 세디 김전로 디네르도
Bodhisattva, guided by the wish that may all beings be freed of suffering and abide in lasting happiness, will know precisely what the causes are that lead to happiness and those that lead to suffering. So they will therefore know that for their heart wish to be fulfilled, beings need to accumulate the causes for happiness and eradicate those that would otherwise lead to suffering. And for beings to do that, the Bodhisattva knows they need to be guided. They need to be guided skillfully in how to cultivate paths within their continuum and abandon all obstacles to do so. So therefore, the Bodhisattva, with their motivation of bodhicitta, will be determined to guide beings to abandon the causes for suffering and cultivate the causes for lasting happiness. And it's only through guiding them how to cultivate the paths of the Dharma within themselves that beings can attain lasting happiness, a happiness that's freed from all forms of suffering. Bodhisattvas, like other beings, will engage in acts of material generosity, and these are required, but these on their own cannot lead to lasting happiness. So material generosity is required, but it is insufficient for beings to attain freedom from suffering in its entirety. Therefore, the supreme way to help others, and certainly the focus of the Bodhisattva's intent, will be to guide beings to cultivate paths within their own continuum. Therefore, aspiring bodhicitta creates so much more merit than even the greatest act of material generosity.
Then Sanje Chile Cheva Nasi do that, the Nigi Sangelia, Chevabatum Puale, and the Simja Tamisanyo Kuban Topo Show, Sambigi, Chanju Sim Mamba, some Geva Zamdi, did some Yen Pain, did some Geva the Pain Chevares, Kebat Pavares, the Nikeba Papa Ina, Anagare, that's Simjem Malu, Tamji, they didn't jump on much years. Simja Tamisanyo Kuban Topo Show, Simbigi, Juba Yamle, Javala Malabache. Sanjugoba Topo Show, Sibe, Sim Geba, Zamdi, and the Niki Chopat Mebal, Sunam Chiyubaina. Sim Jan Tam Jiguduna Sanjugoba Topo Show, Sibe, Sim Ge. The Sim Geba Maze, Domba Lenje, Domba Shuje, and the Juba Yamlen Java, Sim Jan Digi Dubiegi, Javala also jumping Yamlen Shishin Badilla, did Pain Dile Chow, the Shawaya Mares, or they didn't jump on Mushugus, they didn't jump on Sidium. And this Simja Tamji, Simja Malu, Tamjigi, Simja Maluba Tamjigi, Sanjugoba Toba Show, the Sim Gene, and Jajusimbu, Domba Lenji, Joban Yamlet, they didn't jump by Joban Yamlenja, also Junshin Biggie, Junshin Bigeda, Jajusim Della, and they didn't pay in Chow, but the Shawaya Mares, much worse, pay in Chow, your ass order.
The first two lines, if even the simple thought to be of help is far superior to making offerings to the Buddhas. Here we are turned to the benefits of aspiring bodhicitta, reminded of how great they are. Now, in the next two lines, we turn to that of engaging bodhicitta. How much more so is striving for the happiness and well-being of each and every sentient being. Here, the Bodhisattva now, having generated uncontrived bodhicitta, retaking the vows and engaging in deeds to directly as well as indirectly help others. This is the greatest way to accumulate virtue. Everything that the Bodhisattva will do will be directed towards creating the causes to ensure that each and every being attains enlightenment. Either directly creating causes or indirectly creating causes. In other words, when working directly with sentient beings or indirectly aiding sentient beings. Everything the Bodhisattva does will be focused on ensuring that the causes that will lead to the lasting happiness of beings are accumulated.
Sem Mageva Solia, and the Jashu Sem did the Gage, Yamlan Chevana Pando, and the Payan didn't in the Yore said, Jim Mageva the Gay, and Jashu Sem Gay, Donald, Tuba Gage, Dunir Tumbaje, Deli, Bizuje, Donda, and Jashu Sem that the Negi, Gay Sarche, that the Jigan, and Membigi, Cassatum, Mallet, Judum, Lejuban Yamnajale, Kaleka, and Big Samlo de Sulia, the Nigi Yuban, de Sulia, Juba Simbuducine. And Mambas in Japan Dinner the delay, Jubasim, the Chobanyam and Jevi, Dombalin Chobanyam and Java, Janje, and Janjusimdi, Chibana Pay and delay Chigi, said, that's some Chuparting, Yanyamnaji, Chisaja, the so Janjusemba, Janjusim, Gisimba de Ge, one and want to pay ya, Janjusem, my Geba Namna, Gebar, the Niki Gebi, Geber Chipe, Tablam, Yamnegi, on Duchinet, Donadis Sungorwada.
What we're seeing here is described the limitless, the inconceivable benefits of bodhicitta. The benefits of bodhicitta start to be experienced from the moment when the aspiration arises to generate bodhicitta. And the benefits continue through every expression of this aspiration, whether it's through its repeated cultivation or when one is actually engaging in various activities, trying to create the causes to generate uncontrived bodhicitta, to be counted amongst bodhisattvas. So from the very outset, when one hears about the benefits of bodhicitta and gives rise to that spark inside, I too want to be counted amongst the bodhisattvas, one is experiencing the benefits of bodhicitta. And whereby, and every expression of this aspiration, where one engages in further meditation or physical activity or way of speaking that is guided by this aspiration, the benefits of bodhicitta are starting to be cultivated within one. When bodhicitta has actually been generated in one, and one is now a new bodhisattva, when this very precious but fragile bodhicitta is generated, then too one needs to reflect on the benefits of bodhicitta so as to strengthen and make very stable one's bodhicitta and thereby close any possibility of it degenerating. And when bodhicitta is stable within one, one continues to cultivate and strengthen one's bodhicitta to make it grow ever further. So therefore, at whatever stage of training one is, whether one is given rise to the aspiration to become a bodhisattva, or whether one is a new bodhisattva or a seasoned bodhisattva, whatever good qualities one has, one tries to develop them, strengthen them ever further, always being aware of the benefits of generating and stabilizing and strengthening one's bodhicitta, being aware of the benefits that will come to so many beings as one spiritually develops, and having bodhicitta at the forefront of one's motivation as one's guiding light. So this is why one needs to know the benefits of bodhicitta, is to give rise to this aspiration and then to strengthen this ever further. And whatever that these good qualities we still need to generate, we do newly generate them. And whatever good qualities we already have within us, to strengthen them ever further, further and further, giving rise eventually to bodhicitta itself.
And then Janjusim Yi and the Pinajala Rochine, Chichala de Yundin, and Kishu Roshu, Chiana, and some data, Chazang Kishu, Yabushi, we put up your lavender, D. New Duvacheta, and Chige Yungurwa, Pene, Pendike, Ponde, Ivan, the Bear, we also did Pijishata machine for that, Dinigi, and Jigging Nuation, Jing Duvachin, Yungurwa, Jimmy Bejetang Sing and Bejetang 200 in the Bejetang Matunga, Dikas and Kishu, the Yundendi, Mashu Go, and Dilet the New Murwa. Dinashing answer the Janjusim Pen, it's a young and some diada, Dushine, Mas do some tango with Saradine, some da, Chevache, Dushin, some died, Pen Ton. I didn't want to run a Yamlan Chihuahua, did imagine Tabin Sambege, that one Yamlan Jig, Simshu, the Kigu Sarwa, then the Dumba Kigi Sara, then the Dumba Simshu Kibena, the Yam de Zungorwa, the Neza, and Janjusi Pain, Dushin, Sungorwa, and Sumanzang, and Suspain Delia, Yane, and some diada, the Nigi Pain, the Toning around in the Janjusim Kiagi, Tablam, Bezu Wedding, and Zulia, that. Because what is your Chimbigoya, the lapchale to Dinangorwa. Now, and then I'm going to get the lapchatting on the Lingo or Vadana.
So perhaps right now, but certainly at other times, you would have had in mind something that you want to buy. And a desire will have given rise to this. I really want that. And immediately, if one's mindful, will be aware of this thought process, one will notice one's desire, ensuring that this object we want to buy will be going around in our mind again and again. And we'll be coming up with many reasons why we need it and how our life will be enhanced by having it, even if in reality it's something we don't particularly need. Perhaps there's a new phone that you are very attracted to, and you already have a phone, it works fine, there's no need to replace it, but the new one seems really nice. And your mind takes all of its benefits, and you think about them one after the other, and thinking of the benefit or the improvement that will come to one's life by having this. So this we have experience of. Now, let's take that and replace that experience with giving rise to the desire for bodhicitta, to generate bodhicitta within us. And having this desire I want to generate bodhicitta. I want to have this mind that has so many benefits for myself and others as my guiding light, as the dominant force in my life. I want to generate this mind through which I can be of great benefit to all those that I encounter, and through them to be of benefit to others further still. I want to generate this mind that purifies so much negativity, as well as accumulates vast stores of merit, this mind that eases the suffering burden of beings. I want that more than anything. This is what Shantideva is trying to guide us to generate within us, this deep yearning for bodhicitta, this deep yearning to be a guiding light for others in this world. This is how we should be taking his guidance here.
Zewa Niji Kom, Dine, Lasa Namda Kom, Dine, Digombal Dine, that Rimba Hoki, you, Rimba Samdavana, Jam Niji Dan, Lasa Namda, the Makivana, Chisim, Jikombane, Jituya, Galaka Chagorwa, Dine Zadabonga, Jambada, Jambokom, Dine Niji Kom, Din Majane, Jige, Dijelia, Lasa Namda, Semjatamji, Sanjoko, Chigi, Dunji, Sempi Samda. Dijine, Semja Tamjiki do Sayoko, Jiki, Tobashu, Sempigida, Denigi Semgia, Comiating and Zukida, Jiki Rimbarus, and the Denichagoro, Denizada, Nambo, Jambada, Niji, Dusulp, Sosu, Dusutin, Comtinman, Lasan and Nego, Denijashi Semcom, Dusine, Korai, Giane, and Duscomia, Chagoro.
As I mentioned last week, merely having the aspiration to generate bodhicitta is insufficient. One has to train in the way that the texts guide us. There's a specific sequence of trainings that is required, and without following that sequence, one will not be creating the causes for the desired result. So the generation of bodhicitta comes about necessarily in dependence on the cultivation of the altruistic attitude of universal responsibility. And that itself comes about in dependence on the generation of love and compassion. Love and compassion is indispensable for the later generation of bodhicitta. All the levels of training must be cultivated in order to generate bodhicitta. Many causes are needed for this remarkable result. But to attain this result is not beyond any of us. We all have the required qualities to become bodhisattvas. So I encourage you to spend time every day reflecting on love, reflecting on compassion, utilizing the methods that we've covered in previous classes, generating the sincere wish for each and every being to abide in lasting happiness. And for each and every being, without exception, whoever comes to your mind, have the wish, may you abide in happiness. May you only cultivate the causes that lead to happiness. Whoever you meet, whoever's voice you hear, whoever comes to mind, have the wish, may you abide free of suffering. May you not be guided by the afflictions, but gain freedom from the afflictions. Generate the sincere wish in relation to each and every being without exception. And to the extent that you can do this every day, become habituated to this way of thinking, you'll carry it into your daily activities and strengthen your habituation. And this is the indispensable foundation to become a bodhisattva. Becoming a bodhisattva is something that is possible for all of us. So thank you very much. We can then finish there for tonight. But if you have questions, then we can take some questions. Then thank you very much.